Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure to have a conversation with the unstoppable Kranthi Meka. Hi, Kranthi. Good to see you.
Hi, Amrita. It's a pleasure seeing you after so many years and
Yeah.
wonderful to be in this conversation with you.
Awesome. So, Kranthi, I want to start by asking you to introduce yourself briefly. I'd love for our audience and listeners to know more about your story. So, why don't you kick off with a quick introduction?
Well, thanks, Amrita. If you are from Indian descent, as you know, my name means rebel or change maker. So, as typical as I immigrated to US in late 1990s, which is during the Y2K clan time. While I boast myself that I wasn't the one who was fixing the two-digit dates in computer programs, so the world would not collapse. I was not one of those coding monkeys, but I actually I'm proud to be working at Hewlett Packard or Sun Microsystem in their Java JDK libraries. Java was brand new, so I immigrated as an engineer to this country, and I had the opportunity from there to work in several Fortune 100 companies as well as startups, where I had a very long tenure that shaped me who I am today. And this is a story not just about me; it's a story about many Kranthis that have immigrated from all over the world, and are earning and are really have the aspirations to grow as an executive and make a mark in this world. I think this is a story of all of us, and I am more than happy to be sharing my journey and you know um, anything that that you would be able to see is worth learning from this journey. It's my honor to be here.
Absolutely. We love to have you. And definitely, your story is worth to be told. And I'm so looking forward to hear more. So tell us, when it started, this was what, like 20 years ago, 2 decades ago, I guess. Yeah, 20 years. In India, women getting into technology was not as common as it is today, right? What were your perspectives then, and how did you really navigate the challenges that you faced? I'm sure because when you are one of a kind in a room, it's very difficult because the sense of inclusion and the way you're looked at can be very different, or the cultural barriers that might come with it is it's burdening. So, what was your perspective? What was going on in your mind at that point of
Surprisingly, I didn't
time?
feel any of the discrimination in India at all.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, I maybe my journey as as an engineer in India is very short.
Hmm.
As an engineering student, both in bachelor's and master's in computer science engineering, yes, women were minority. There were very few women, but the usual biases towards the gender, that as a woman you're still looked at as a object of attraction versus someone who is here to aspire and do something in technology or learn something. I think that was, we were all children, I would say. That's probably some of the mindset of in the college I've seen. But other than that, when I entered the workforce, my very first job out of after I finished my master's in computer science engineering was at one of the well-known MNCs, Siemens, the Bangalore company. Siemens, which is a German company that had a branch in Bangalore. We had a huge development center, and I was one of the software engineers fresh out of the college hired into it, right? And absolutely, it was such a welcoming environment. We were all from the cream of the great colleges in India, and we were treated so well, and we were like all grateful to be in a place like that, right, in Bangalore, in a company like Siemens. And the company treated us really well. Computer science engineers were at demand. This was in late it was 1998, and we had actually perks. Google boasts about it. They are the one to initiate the free lunches and the full serve pantry. We had it in late 1990s in India. So I think the picture of India and how India would treat working women is different. And I would like to give the clarity. It's actually, I felt it was far more progressive, and we worked as a team. And there was and all the activities that we did, whether it was part of the work or social events, we were included as part of it. There was never like, hey, what would girls do? Or like, it's not like going smoking cigars or playing golf or things, or going watching a ball game. It was more like we did it as a team, and
Mhm.
there was no boys club mentality. And that's why I never felt the discrimination actually in India. And I would also say that you're very young and you're at an IC level, and maybe that's the kind of the culture even at an IC level. That's probably now in US as well, but it was already there 20 plus years ago in India. And though
So
we were a minority, never treated as minority, and the workplace was really bursting with energy and enthusiasm, which was infectious. We worked hard and we played harder. So no wonder we are like very desirable workforce that everybody wanted to immigrate. And that was what if I faced any challenges, it was only my ambition to grow and actually come to US, strong desire to come to US. That was the only like that unsettled ambition in me, even though I was only 1 year into workforce. So that was pretty much most of us what we were aiming at that time. And it was, I didn't face any discrimination, I would say, as an early engineer back in India. The things could vary slightly different as in you're an executive role, I would say. But I just feel that every time I go to India, even on work travel, there's a lot of hospitality and how you're treated as women, as there's honor. I absolutely see that's incredible.
that's a very interesting perspective you bring on. And tell us, why did you leave India and come to the US? What was that trigger that made you do this decision? And then I have another following question where you touched on a very important topic about how the perception is as a woman in India versus US. We're going to come to that later, but talk to us about your decision that triggered the migration from India to US.
The trigger was essentially, even though I think on the work side, I did not face any discrimination. Like my family was very supportive, but I think you're still a girl at the end of the day. You need to be married off, and there has to be a lot of dowry money to be given to the boy's family, all of that. And I was like, what? I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
I've I've worked hard, I've been in best schools and doing great job, and why should I be this commodity who
Yeah.
should be marrying? So that was actually my driving factor. And I always my mom also was very supportive of being independent, and I actually leveraged that to my advantage. I didn't even tell her until I got my work visa, and then my ticket was sent by my employer in US. Mom, I got a job in US and I'm going. And of course she was like, had mixed feelings of going without being married, but that was my driving factor. I didn't want to get married and come as a dependent. I want to be myself. I want to come on my own and set myself as a working woman in the country. And US was a dreamland for
Yeah.
everyone back then.
Yeah.
So that's what motivated the migration of the personal biases that people still would have against you, including your own family to some extent.
Yeah.
And in a good way, positive way, right? And then how when I came here, it's obviously I didn't face any gender biases, I would say, as early engineer, but definitely there was immigrant biases, right? I mean,
Mm.
and it varied from workplace to workplace. When I worked at one big MNC, I mean, one big enterprise company here in US, they really didn't include the immigrants in meetings or office events, or didn't have the welcoming environment like consultants or immigrants would get the shitty part of the office. Versus, so the diversity inclusion was not even on the charter at that time, right?
Got it.
And so
Okay.
it's not necessarily women. It's like the workforce you're hiring for cheap, and all they are supposed to do is take orders and code something. This was one company, whereas their competition, a different company, I would name it, Sun Microsystems, was an awesome place to work for. They were absolutely like treated contractors as their own employees. We had our own offices. Maybe for that reason, Sun didn't survive. but it was a great workplace. We were never differentiated. So I would say that it's the culture, how women or how diverse workforce is treated in the companies comes from the top down. And it's very much, I think that's where leaders need to really pay attention to. And if you ask me, like, what were the similarities between working in India and working in US, or as a professional women perspective, I would say a subtle similarity. Neither countries in the ladies' restrooms have the sanitary napkins for free. I mean, imagine you're a woman, you are, in a workplace. This is something it bothers to me even today. You are in a great workplace. They really care about your employees. Diversity is a part of it, but you don't have a free sanitary, vending machine or something in your ladies' bathroom. And how do you expect women to carry their purses all the time or hide their, sanitary needs behind their clothes and go? And this is something that has to be addressed. And that has always bothered me, if you ask me that. I mean, it's not really as professional as it sounds, but these are the subtle things that companies need to pay attention to. How are we treating our, working women professionals, and what are their needs that differ from that of the other genders, and that you should pay attention to. And the striking similarities are both countries, still there's so many of women in the individual contributory level, but as you're going to the more management and leadership role, the ratio keeps decreasing. And that's something both countries need to work. And these are similarities irrespective of, I think, whether it's India, whether it's anywhere, all nations need to work towards. And I hope there would be some good changes, at a constitution level, at an organization level, that the governments would enforce, or if not, the companies are taking the initiatives themselves. And then the differences, I would say, is I definitely felt working in India scores a lot higher on hospitality. We are much more a humble nation, where even like people treated the workforce with a lot more, humility and respect. And if you're a leader, you're honored, way beyond by, the organizations then and the teams than over here. I mean, it's not that the respect is mutual, but I just felt that the humble and hospitality that India, the Indian culture is very welcoming for a newcomer or someone coming from a diverse background or someone traveling from a different country to work there. They were just welcome because you were different. People were curious to learn more from you. Into the putting you in a shitty workplace, thinking you are, I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but I just felt that in India, because you're different, you're treated actually with much more honor and welcomed, to be part of our people are willing to share, how things work there. That's what I felt. This was, at least my little bit of travel I did for work to India, or my individual contributory roles, whether it was, working in India or versus in US. Those were the differences.
Got it. So it feels like it's a much more inclusive culture when it comes to people being seen as different back there in India versus how you feel being included here when you're a newcomer, whether you look different based on your immigration status or however that is. That's like the highlight that you're trying to probably say here. Okay,
Absolutely.
cool. That's awesome. It's a great perspective for sure. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit. So we talked about where you started, you immigrated to the US. Going back to your career journey specifics in terms of the fields that you've chosen. So you started from a tech background. You now are in the business executive, field, right? So the transition that you did from a technology to being a business executive and a leader, that's quite a journey. So I always hear questions around being a leader, yet being technical. Is that still a possibility? Or what is leadership in your perspective? Is it mandatory that a technical hands-on person can still be seen as a leader, being in the technical track, or is it mandatory for that person to shift from the technical hands-on role into really becoming a business leader? So how would you really like guide people in this scenario? Let's say the passion of an individual is to remain technical, but yet grow in the organization into a powerful, influential position. Would that even be a possibility? Or is it always this one path where no matter what's your passion, what's your skill, you go into the business line to be able to influence and become an organization leader?
It's an excellent question. And I think a lot of women who are hands-on functional roles have this question more than men would have, surprisingly. I would say that women can be whatever they want to be. They are the most empathetic human beings. They have the strongest resolve and strength. We see that more on personal and professional fronts. So I would say that you do not have to switch from a technical role to business side to grow in your career or to be on an executive trajectory. However, I think hands-on is great. I mean, the more you do hands-on, you've done it, you've been there, you know exactly what it takes. But you also want to start thinking from the broader, perspective. And, you want to start asking yourself the questions: is my work contributing to the bigger picture or vision of the company? I continue to do this hands-on work, but I am invisible. Is it going to take me anywhere? You need to start asking these questions to yourself. And also, are you part of the product or, or revenue driving channel that really matters to, even though you're in the technology side, is it really, in the executive radar? And I think these are some of the questions that you need to ask. And you are a hands-on leader. You want to grow from a hands-on person more onto a hands-on leader, because you are there to guide the team as needed, but you don't have to do it always. So I think that nature of taking it all on your shoulders and do it has to change slowly. It takes time. And I remember my early days when I switched from an engineer to more client-facing role. I still thought like an engineer. Every time there was a question, a client, problem at hand, I would already jump into how would I code it? How would I do it? Like, what would be the challenges in order to solve? I would already jump to the solution. And I trained myself thinking more from the design perspective, and the design perspective was step one. And then thinking more from the client perspective. What is client really wanting? And what does client, want, out of this? Or, what are their needs? I think the more you move towards the business could be your internal business units, or it could be your external business units. The more you think about this and working more with your business units, the more you're getting closer into the circle of visibility and how people start seeing you as a leader, right? So that's how I would say. And my trajectory, I have both sides, right? I think I took the lineage of being a technologist as a leverage. And then I used it as my vantage point into stepping into the business domain. I was an engineer, and working for a startup gave me opportunities to be in client facing. When my sales team and account executive team started pulling me as a technical expert to explain certain things or to close a deal, I absolutely love being in that room. And is when I realized, wow, I love this conversation. I love understanding the client perspective. I love understanding the client needs and actually designing a solution that works for me. And I was the most valuable person in that room because I know how to do it, like instead of just promising, right? So I use that as my advantage. And then even today, at core, I'm still a technologist. So, but that's me, right? I love being in those crucial client conversations and being an underrepresented person, because there are a lot of people that don't look like you, but still have that, fierceness and have the confidence to carry the conversations, whether, this way or that way, and not, have it drain you emotionally or technically. and just, present yourself in such nature, right? That's me, and that's how I felt that I would be invaluable bridging that gap between the technology and business, and I would do so well as a business executive, and that's the trajectory I had. However, if you are a technology, you love technology and you want to grow as into more leadership roles, you want to, as you are biased towards action as a technologist, that's inherent nature of all of us, but you also want to be a fast thinker, and you want to be seen as the most brilliant person in the room. That doesn't mean that you're the one talking the most, but you want to also listen and take the right moment to present the information that's very valid at that point, and know how to present it. And then when you present it, you get the buy-off, take it to the team, and drive the team to execute it to achieve the end result. There you got it, right? I mean, you are a technologist, you have the opportunities, or you're seeking the opportunities where the company needs the most, and you're raising your hand and signing up for that assignment and making yourself visible. So in this journey of leadership, whether you're a technologist or business executive, the journey, do not be shy to shine. And if you are, shy, feeling shy to shine, and to get noticed, then you won't be visible. So make sure you're visible, not by being loud, but adding value to the table in a manner that really matters, and that's what leaders are looking for. And then also take the credit where it's due. A lot of times what comes to easy to us as technologists, because you've done it, you figured it, you're so brilliant, you think it's easy, and you just don't give yourself credit. And women are so good at it, not giving yourself credit. So please take credit for the work you're doing. Just because it's easy for you doesn't mean the work is easy. Give yourself permission to take the credit, make yourself visible and shine. And then once you become the leader, you want your team to shine, and that's what magnifies you as a leader. You don't want to continue to take the credit. You don't want to continue to be the leader. That's I've done it. I think it's we. It's giving. Yep. Hey, Amrita has done this. Amrita has done an excellent. She was the one who was the primary brains behind this architecture that puts us in this position with the client. And this product manager or so and so was the one to really get the team executing on our deliverables with the client and meet those deliverables. So on and so, like you're always you're looking out for your team, and you're making them shine and raising them as you magnify yourself as a leader. That's very important in a leadership journey, whether you're a technology leader or whether you're a business executive leader. And there's plenty of opportunities in technology also. Like you don't have to be always someone who is coding. You could be growing into more data side, reporting, analytics, or business product side, or the technology product side, people management, right? I mean, everything is driven by technology. So you as a technologist always can shine and influence as a technologist and leader. That's what I would say.
This is awesome. I think what I heard is, just to kind of summarize, women, do not be shy. Be courageous to try things and try to understand what's your passion, where you fit well, market yourself more, right? And then when you're in a leadership position, you rise when you basically rise others. So it's kind of the teamwork that's together. That's awesome. Yeah.
You totally got it, Amrita. Great summary.
Awesome. So few questions. Did you doubt yourself at all at times when you were in a difficult situation? If yes, how do you really overcome those situations?
Of course I doubt myself, even today. And I do it anyways. I did it back then. I do it anyways. So, you give a damn about the doubt and you do it. And there are only two outcomes of giving a damn about your doubt: is you succeed or you learn. And both are positive, right? That's how I look at it. Wouldn't you agree with that? These are both positive
Absolutely.
outcomes. You give a damn and you do it anyways. What's the worst? you will learn, because you may have have overshot, but you learn and you move on, and next time you do better. And I also follow that. This is the Nike principle, right? Just do it. Or the Richard Branson's say yes to everything. Opportunity favors bold. You just keep, saying that to yourself and be fearless about things, and give a damn about your doubts. That's what I would
Great,
say.
great. So quickly tell us, rapid round, top 5, hashtags or keywords that you want to just, give as an advice to women who are listening to this, women or men who are listening to this, just from a growth standpoint, what should they be looking at, or kind of if they're in doubt, how should they be rethinking about their skill sets or about their confidence level? So I just need to know like top 5 advice that Kranthi might tell us.
So it's an excellent question, and rapid fire, I'll give you one. Always ask yourself difficult questions like, why do I want to be a leader? What makes me, what value do I bring as a leader? And how do I lead? These are like 3 important questions you in your leadership journey you want to ask yourself. And it's not driven by your personal agendas. I think initially in the early stages of the management, growing into the middle management, it's still personal agendas, and you want to go in your career trajectory. The more you're growing, the more you put your personal agendas aside and you look at the bigger picture, and you're serving the bigger purpose, the more you grow as a leader, and people see as a leader that does matter, and we want to work with this person. And it's very important. Like, you want to see that, do I want to work for myself? I mean, do I want to work with myself? Is a question that you want to ask. Do I want to work with myself being the leader? So it's not, being, self-obsessive about yourself as a leader, but, always keep asking why, what do I bring, and how do I lead? And in my case, I've always been the servant leader. And I think that's kind of, mentality that I had, always trying to contribute to the community at large is how I looked at it. And that really worked well for me. And 2 more tips I would say is, for women especially, avoid this tiara syndrome, which is, I would just keep my heads down, working hard, and someone will notice me, make me manager, make me director. I mean, I think that won't happen. You have to make yourself visible.
Yeah.
And being sincere is not a strategy. You have to put your best negotiation at every point in your career juncture. And especially women, you have to stand up for other women. And that's one thing. The 4th point is avoid tiara syndrome. And the 5th point is root for other women in the room. And that's very important, irrespective whether this woman is a junior to you, peer to you, or a leader for you. You always look out for other women. I think the more we work as a coalition, the more we will start representing ourselves as leaders, and which is very much required.
I love the 5th point, and I cannot agree more than what you just said. Women helping other women. I think that is huge. Totally supportive of that.
And I would give a bonus point just in, as women, we are emotional beings. I would use this, word Q-tip, which is quit taking it personally. I think you start like women, the moment something doesn't, I think not all of us, but I think get tough, grow a thick skin, start taking things personally.
Yeah.
There's no agendas. Even if people had agendas, I'd say that, use a 4-letter word, and you just be bullish about what you are, what kind of a leader you are, and how you want to be seen as a leader and grow as a leader, and which is beyond your personal agendas. That's what I would say.
Absolutely. All right. So the last question I have for you is, would love for you to share a few resources that you reference personally to build such an awesome career journey. So that's going to really benefit our audience. And then just kind of give them a direction and mentorship on things that they should be looking out for, or resources specifically that they can reference to grow themselves.
I would say number one, network, network, network. Put yourself out there, cultivate connections, whether it's right now in COVID time during Zoom, or when we all get to be in the real world. Go in person, make an effort. And a lot of companies have ERG groups. Be part of those employee resource groups. Be the chairperson, be the volunteer. Make yourself visible. Drive for the, go, put yourself out there and lead the causes that really matter to you. For me, women leadership did matter, and I co-chaired Women Network in Visa, and I was co-chairing Lean In. It did matter, because and that philosophy, or that drive is still within me, and network is one thing I think that really works. And also seeking mentors. And a mentor is not one person, there can be multiple mentors. But at the same time, mentors are important, but at the same time, scoring your executive sponsors is also very important. I mean, executive sponsors are someone who are going to recommend you for a job, for a promotion, or giving you that next level, whether within the same company or outside the company. But you have put yourself out there and proven your expertise in certain area, and you're talking about it, and you're making yourself visible. So it's really important that you are looking for you're proving yourself, but it also growing some of these mentor relationships or the leaders that you're connected into, not with an agenda, but automatically some of those relationships, they become your executive sponsors. And be open to those ideas, and say always yes to opportunities. That's what I would say. And yeah, I mean, if I would say that women can be anything they want to be, stop doubting yourself and be fearless and go at it.
That's awesome. Great. I love this conversation, Kranthi. It was so energizing, and I can feel that you're so passionate about this. That brings us to the end of our conversation. I think this was fabulous. I'm sure a lot of our audience are going to benefit from this. Thank you so much for taking time to share your insights, your experience, and then providing us advice on how we can change the outlook of life. Just let's go get it.
Thank you, Amrita. You are doing a wonderful job with Fore-women, and I really look forward to being part of your support system in helping and in growing this initiative that you have started, and bringing more women leaders of color, and women that are hesitating to raise. And I'd say that just take home, give them about your doubts.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure talking to you, Kranthi. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great afternoon.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye.